Alright, so I just got back from Nepal doing the Everest Base Camp Trek. It was an awesome experience. I definitely recommend. Lots of cool sights to see and do. Definitely difficult, it's not without its challenges, and I definitely didn't do enough training, but it was an awesome experience and I'm going to take you along that journey. So, because I know someone's already in the comments screaming what gear I brought my Sony A7R Mark IV, my 35GM 1.4, and my 70-200 Mark I 2.8. And all that gear was stored in a Wondered Provoke 31 litre. Now I had some regrets with the gear I brought, and I'll explain that throughout the trip. Normally when you go to Everest Base Camp, you would fly out of Kathmandu and go to Lukla, but we had to fly out of Ramchap, so we had to take a 4-hour bus ride in the early morning to get there and get sorted for our flight. Unfortunately, we were like the last flight, even though we got there very early in the morning, so it kind of sucked. The flight itself, I had never been on a small plane, so I don't know if it moves around as much as it did when we were on the flight, but it was very shaky, and the conditions, it was lots of clouds everywhere. I did unfortunately sit on the wrong side of the plane because I was one of the last onto the plane, so ideally when you're going up you want to be on the left side of the plane to get the better view of the mountain range as you go up to Lukla. Unfortunately I was stuck on the right side, but I still got some cool photos. Made it there safe, and once we got off the plane, there was an awesome view of the mountains already, the plane, the awesome airport. It's definitely one of the most picturesque, beautiful airports, I reckon. We finally got to Tok Tok, which is where we will spend the night. It's a little bit further than what you normally go to, according to our itinerary, but the first day was a little bit difficult because we were very tired and my shoulders were starting to hurt because I was holding absolutely all of my gear, all of my solar panels and things that I brought along the trip. Day 2 we had to walk from Tok Tok to Namche Bazaar. Namche Bazaar is the biggest town on Everest Base Camp. It was by far the most altitude gained in a day. I think we did about 900 odd meters of altitude in one day, which was definitely difficult in the altitude, but we were still somewhat low. As we started walking, the light in the early morning was incredible. Just I don't know if it's the alpenglow or the light was just awesome that day, but lots of cool landscapes already down low. Now along the trip, something you'll find out very quickly is there's lots of stray dogs, but they're super friendly and often they will join you along the adventure. So we had Bruno and Bronyu. These were these dogs that followed us on the second day for quite a long time. They just sort of hang around us, you know, they might go a little in front and wait for us, but we always had like a little furry companion the whole way. So continuing on, we stopped on for lunch at this place and there were some awesome trees, so I captured some photos of those before heading off down to the river and starting our big climb. Continuing on, the landscape started to open up a bit more, so I captured this awesome shot of the girls. On the second day is something I didn't think would happen on the mountain, a traffic jam. You often walk past groups of yaks or donkeys going up and down the mountain. There was a group of like 4 yak groups that all jammed up, and there were, you know, everyone was trying to stop their yaks and let them pass one another. It was a mess. We stayed here for about 10 minutes just watching it all. I thought this photo was very cool. As we were walking into our hotel, there was just a bit of light capturing a magazine that said The Call of Everest. I thought that was, you know, very fitting for where we were. And later that day we went to the bakery to celebrate our walk that day, I suppose, and that was the best donut I've ever had. It was like a massive donut with hazelnut sauce, something like that, all over it. It was awesome. Alright, day 3, we stayed in Namche Bazaar once again, and we just did an acclimatization hike. So it's where you climb to the top of, it was a local mountain there, I'm not sure. We went to Hotel Everest View, which would be our first time seeing the proper Everest range, like getting a good look at it. Before we started, there was some yaks already outside, you know, hanging around, which was really cool. Now, even just walking through the town this morning, you could really feel the altitude already get to you. Like you're really slowing down, but it didn't stop us from continuing on, and I captured some awesome photos. Now continuing up, I was really struggling because I had that 70 to 200 in my bag, which I was slowly beginning to regret just because of how much it weighed. It even got to the point on this acclimatization hike that our guide Raj took my bag because it was so heavy. I regret bringing that lens, but it was worth it for that day to capture the range. As we started to reach the peak of this hill, I captured this photo, which is an awesome photo. It just really encapsulates the whole adventure, the mountain in the background, and everyone in my group. On the way back, I got some nice minimal shots of the mountains and the lines of the paths and that sort of thing. Now, on the mountain, the porters are insane what they carry, and this is just a prime example of the ridiculousness of what they carry. This time, from the rest of the trip, I actually left my 70 to 200 in my porter's bag, so I actually didn't ever take another photo with that lens, which is why I regret bringing it on this trip. I should have just brought my 85 1.8 or something nice, small and compact.
It's Wallace. Wallace the dog.
In this section, we got passed by a bunch of yaks, and I got by far my favorite yak photos of the trip. Towards the end of today's trip, you have to do a big climb up to Tengboche. It sucked, but it wasn't that bad. I was feeling rejuvenated because I wasn't carrying a 70 to 200, so I didn't feel that bad.
No.
Once you get up to the top of Tengboche, you get to see the world's highest monastery. We actually got to sit in and watch one of the ceremonies happen. But it's very cool up there. You get to see the Everest mountain range if it's not covered by clouds, as well as the monastery. And the next morning, I actually had a bit of altitude sickness. I was feeling like shit, headache. I had little energy. I was really struggling. So the next day to Tengboche, I actually didn't take pretty much any photos or videos. The videos I did take, I took them in slow motion. That's how shit I was feeling. I didn't even realize I was taking them in slow motion. I did capture this photo on my phone, which was really cool. And I didn't notice the dude in the corner of the photo until after I took it. But yeah, I didn't feel too great. I don't actually even remember how the walk was. I think it was fine, like it wasn't too difficult or anything. Once we were in Tengboche, we had to do an acclimatization hike the next day, which was very difficult. At this altitude, you're really struggling now. It was awesome though, lots of views of the ranges. There was lots of prayer flags and little stacks of rocks up on the mountain, so lots to see and do. The next day we went from Tengboche to Lukla. This was some of the coolest photographic parts of the trip in my opinion. There's lots of cool, really jutted out mountains. There's these seemingly abandoned, I'm not sure if people live in them, little stone huts surrounded by these mountains that is really cool. Further along, we had to cross this really sketchy bridge over this rocky section. This bridge was like 3 bits of metal, some plywood, and rocks covering the holes where it had broken. And you could see that the whole thing was just buckling under the weight. Especially when there's like yaks and donkeys all crossing this all the time, and then everyone as well. After that crossing, we had a really big hill that we had to climb. I actually didn't film or take any photos on this because I was just focusing on walking and getting up. But once we got to the top, we got to see the memorial that's up there for people that have died at Everest. The rest of the track I didn't really take too much photos of. The big climb pretty much took it out of all of us, and we're going around every bend in the road trying to see where the next town is, hoping that it's around this next bend, but it never was. Day 8. Now this is the fun day. This is Lukla to Gorakshep and Everest Base Camp Day. So you hike to the next town and you go to Everest Base Camp all in that same day. The light in the morning on this trip was awesome. The mountains were just lighting up with awesome glow, and just everything was looking cool behind the lens. But the higher and higher we got up, the less I took photos, much like the less I ate. Reached the next big hill. Here's our reactions to what we were about to go through. We really hated this part. At this point we were very close to Gorakshep, and my girlfriend was really struggling with some altitude sickness. She actually vomited right before the town, so our guide Raj actually piggybacked her down the mountain, and we were considering a helicopter evacuation for her, and we had to push on to Everest Base Camp. We actually had our porter be our guide on that little leg of the journey and took us all the way to Everest Base Camp. It was about a 2-3 hour walk, and I not once saw this porter drink a single drop of water. I don't understand how, but he just pushed through, no worries, like he could do this in his sleep. Once we got to Everest Base Camp, I actually didn't find it that photogenic. I didn't find it that awesome to take photos of. I obviously got some photos of me on the rock. And after that, it took us about 3 days to get down. I haven't felt muscle soreness the whole way up. It was only on the way down that I felt it because we were just covering so much ground so quickly. Anyway, that was my experience on Everest Base Camp. If you have any questions or feedback, let me know down in the comments. If it helped you out, leave it a like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.